Well, hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining our Alice Town Hall this afternoon. We're so glad that you're here to hear the update to the 2021 Alice data. If we haven't met before, my name is Jessica Davison. I'm the Senior Director of Learning, Analytics, and Compliance here at United Way of Greater Houston. Joining me today are Mingyu Liu and Elias Delgado. They are our Senior Program Analysts here at United Way of Greater Houston. We'll be walking you through the 2021 ALICE data. We're going to be sharing with you an update to the data, as well as providing you with tools that you can use to better understand the needs in the community and what we're seeing through the data. I always like to start these presentations out with just a reminder that, yes, this is data. It is powerful as data, but ALICE is also about people. You likely have been, you are, or you know someone who is experiencing ALICE. So I just want us to hold that as we remember that this is about people in our community. And so we hope that this information here helps you better understand the impact and the need that we're seeing. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Elias Delgado to kick us off.
Thank you, Jessica. Well, hello, everybody. Thanks for being here today again. ALICE stands for Asset Limited Income Concern Employed, and it's a quantitative analysis of what it takes to make ends meet. It uses real-world, bare bones, household budgets specific to our area. ALICE presents a more accurate picture of the economic reality across our communities, especially regarding the number of households that are severely economically challenged. We've used ALICE data over the past several years to guide our approach to in the work in our community, and today we're happy to share the 2021 ALICE data and what it means for our neighbors and community. But before we do dive into the ALICE data, I do want to take us back to 2020 and 2021, which was the height of that pandemic. And throughout the pandemic, economic forces such as job disruption, inflation, wage increase, and pandemic assistance worked both with and against each other. A prominent feature of the federal government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic was a range of direct assistance programs, including the pandemic-specific unemployment insurance, economic impact payments, the stimulus payments, the expanded child tax credit, and emergency rental assistance. These temporary reliefs mitigated the pandemic's negative financial impact on ALICE households, avoiding what could have been a deeper economic crisis overall. And unique to ALICE is the ALICE survival budget, which is specific to state, county, and household size. The survival budget includes actual costs such as housing, childcare, utilities, transportation, healthcare, and a low cost smartphone, because the reality is technology is now becoming a basic necessity in our everyday lives. Now, the ALICE survival budget is bare bones, real world conservative estimates of what it takes to make ends meet, which includes no savings or frills in the budget, which is an important keynote to remind ourselves of. And here's just one example of what a family of three survival budget looks like. So you can see here in the greater Houston area, a household of one adult, one school age, and one middle-aged child needs $63,204 to make ends meet. And that is just the bare necessities of what it takes for that family to really survive in the greater Houston area. And you can see here that we have all the different line items here for you, where you see housing, rent, childcare, food, taxes, healthcare, where the monthly total for that budget is $5,267, with that family needing an hourly wage of $31.60 to be able to afford the basic necessities in the greater Houston area. And here in the next slide, I do want to dive into how families differ in composition and size, and to know that my family of three is going to look different than your family of three, which is going to be looking from somebody else's family of three. So you can see here on this slide that we have three households that are all of the same size, but are different compositions. And you will notice that as we change the composition of the households, that survival budget changes significantly. In the first budget, we have one adult and two school-age children, which needs an annual budget of $59,832 to make ends meet. And that increases when we change that to two adults and one school age. And then that increases again when we change that to one adult, one school age, and one preschool. And you can see here that all the line items are going to vary depending on the size. And one thing that I do want to call your attention to is the tax credits. We mentioned in the previous slide that during the pandemic, there was a lot of forces that were helpful to families. And you can see here that those tax credits that families received during the pandemic and the assistance they received did play a factor into the budget and really did provide some support that really mitigated the impact that families could have endured during the hardship of that pandemic. And a couple of things that I do want to draw to attention to is compared to 2018 to 2021, healthcare and food were the items that saw the biggest increase in the survival budget. And that was due to a lot of different factors. With food here, we see here with food that for one older adult and one school age, the line item is $647. But when we change that to one adult, one school age, and one preschool, that number increases significantly to $878. And when we add two adults, two school age, and one infant, that number almost doubles from one adult and one school age to $1,329. And that was based due on the USDA Thrifty Plan, which is calculated by age and the county that they live in, depending from Feeding America. And starting in 2021, that data changed from being evidence-based to really what is the real cost of food in the areas that we are living, and not just having access to food, but having access to healthy and affordable food in the communities that they live. So that was a big change that really did drive the increase in the survival budget for the food line item. And next is childcare. Childcare is something that most families need, and is something that really does take up a big amount of a household's income. You can see here for one older adult and one school age that they need $270 for childcare. When we increase that number by just one more child, that number almost quadruples to nearly $1,000. And when we add another child to the equation, that number jumps to almost 4 times as much, to $1,366. And childcare costs does vary on the age of the child, and the budget is based on the cost of a registered family care homes for an infant from 0 to 2 years old, for preschool age child from 3 to 4, and school age children from 5 to 12. So you can see here that as the family has more children, they're obviously going to need more money to spend on childcare and make sure that it's affordable and equitable and reliable childcare. And then healthcare, and you will notice here that for healthcare, for one older adult and one school age, that monthly budget is $950. And you see here, as we increase the size of the household, that number is actually going to be lower than what it is for 2 people. So you will see here for one adult, one school age, and one preschool, that number drops from $950 to $841. And even when we increase that household size to a total of 5 members for 2 adults, 2 school age, and 1 infant, that number is still lower than what it is for one older adult and 1 school age at $923. That is due to the fact that really healthcare is really based on someone's health. So older adults tend to need more healthcare assistance. So that is why you'll see that one older adult really does drive the cost of that household budget for healthcare. And premiums, out-of-pocket expenses, co-payments on medications and prescription really do drive the impact that healthcare that household has to spend on healthcare on a monthly basis. It really is driven on the composition of the household and the size of the household. And here next, we talk about the survival budget. So I want to demo a few different household sizes and how the survival budget is really localized to the region that someone is living in, and also the household size and the composition of the household. So here quickly, I'm going to demo real quick on the Alice survival budget, and I'm going to put this link in the chat if anybody would like to follow along, or if anybody from the team can please include the link in the chat. So here for the household size, I'm going to choose a family type of 2 adults, 2 preschoolers, and 2 infants. And we're going to select Harris County as the county that we are curious to learn what that household needs in Harris County to really make ends meet. And once this loads, you will see here that a family of this composition of 2 adults, 2 preschoolers, and 2 infants needs a yearly income of $110,000, $110,724 to make ends meet in the greater Houston area. And you're thinking, wow, that is a big change from that 63,000 that we saw for a household of 3. You can see how that composition and the size really does drive what that family needs to survive in the greater Houston area. And a big thing about Alice, as we mentioned before, it is localized to the regions that we live in. So here we selected Harris County, but what we're going to do now is we are going to switch that to one of our other counties here in the greater Houston area, to Fort Bend County. And we will see what that family needs in Fort Bend to make ends meet. And you can see here that number increases from 110,000 to nearly $120,000. So you can see here in real time that even though it's the same household size, just changing the location of where that family is living impacts that survival budget and what they need to make ends meet where they are living. And if we change that again to one of our other outlying counties in Montgomery County, we will see that survival budget did drop a little bit to 117,000, but as we go through and changing the size, the household composition, and the location, we will see that survival budget does change from area to area. And it really does just, reinforce the fact that Alice is not just data that can be paintbrushed across anybody and any location, that it really is specific to the households and people that are living in a community, in the communities that we as individuals and agencies are serving. And I do want to have some interaction from the group. So if someone could please just unmute and share a composition of a household and a county that they're interested in, and we can see how that really does play a big part into the survival budget of family. And if you do put it in chat, I do ask the team if they can share that information with me so we can relay that information and show how location and composition really do drive the survival budget in the areas that we are serving.
This is Amanda. Can I just ask the question? Like, I'm looking at the housing rent, and the rent is $2,147. So is that an apartment? Are they renting a house? And how do you determine what the rent value would be in a particular area?
Yeah, Amanda, so that's going to drill down really to the fair market rent at the 40th percentile. So for that, because that's a family of 6, right? So maybe they are, and then, the survival budget is going to calculate it for like efficiency apartment, 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom based on the family size. So that family of 6, maybe the 2,100 is going to be a 3 bedroom efficiency or potentially a 4 bedroom. It could be an older home. It's really going to like factor on like what is that, what's available. They also used a little bit of like the community expenditure survey to help really drill into like what is that cost for rent, and then also for utilities. They separated those out for the housing cost. Okay, thanks. You're shaking your head, so we knew we got that. Oh yeah, somebody did Brazoria County. Maybe we could look at Brazoria County. I didn't see anybody do a household composition. So maybe if you want to do one you want. Yeah.
I'll change that one to 3 adults, 1 school age, and 3 infants. So as you can see, it's 3 adults with 4, so it's a family of 7. And you can see here, and I'll just change it back to Brazoria County, which it is. And you can see for a family of this composition and size in Brazoria County, actually, I think I have another one clicked, so I have to go. Yeah. So we can see here in Brazoria County, that family of 7 needs $113,664 to just make ends meet. And we did have a family of 6 here. I believe it was in Fort Bend County where that number was 119,000. So even as we move to rural communities such as Brazoria County, the what it takes to make ends meet is still a pretty high number, and that composition and that size really does drive what a family needs to just survive in the communities that they are living. And I really do encourage you to test out this for yourself. This is on our website, and if you're working with, it really is beneficial to really have a good, better understanding of what it really takes to just survive here in the greater Houston area, and it really puts it into perspective of what our clients are facing on an everyday basis and what they really just need to just make it from day to day. If nobody has any more questions, I'm gonna go ahead and transition over to Mingyu, who will do the next part of the presentation. Thank you all.
Thank you, Elias. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me quickly share my screen and then we will go on with our presentation. Okay, so the ALICE survival budget truly drives the impact that we see across our community. And now let's zoom out together a little bit and see how many ALICE and below families are struggling to make ends meet in greater Houston area across 4 counties. So based on the ALICE 2021 data, about 14% of households across greater Houston area are living below the federal poverty threshold, and another 31% of households are experiencing ALICE. So on the line chart here, even we see a percentage drop in ALICE below, but there was still a quite big increase in the number of households experiencing ALICE and below. As the population grows across greater Houston, we know that over 1 million households are struggling to make ends meet. So the need is ever present. And diving deeper together into ALICE data through a more local lens, we see those experiencing ALICE growing into the outlying counties. For example, Waller and Harris County, they have 32% households experiencing ALICE, with 15% poverty for Harris County, and Waller County has seen a decrease in poverty to 11% in year 2021. And for Fort Bend County, it has over 100,000 households experiencing ALICE and poverty, which results to 31% ALICE and 7% poverty. And for Montgomery County, it has a decrease in households struggling to make ends meet, with 24% experiencing ALICE and 10% experiencing poverty. And here is a map to help you visualize where the ALICE households are locating across greater Houston area. So at the zip code level, we can see an increase in folks experiencing ALICE outside the Beltway, where is the blue, dark blue line at. And where we live does matter. It impacts our financial stability, health, and life expectancy, exposure to violence, access to resources, and housing. And the ALICE family, whether they are homeowners or home renters, they are frequently forced to make difficult choices or sacrifices in other areas of their life. So besides the county and zip code level, ALICE data also allow us to see where the ALICE family live at the neighborhood level. And here is a map showing where the ALICE and below households locating in different neighborhoods across Harris County. And here, let's zoom into one of those neighborhoods, the Willbrook neighborhood, which along the Highway 249. So for Willowbrook, it has, so over the past year, we have seen a big increase in households experiencing ALICE. At year 2010, they had 27% household experiencing ALICE. And that number increased to 40% in 2021. So the need is ever present. And next, I want to quickly walk through how you can access the map I just showed, and you can find areas and neighborhoods experiencing Alice that you are eager to know. And let me quickly switch to the tool. And then I'm going to share the link in the chat as well, so you can take a look. And later on in my demo, I will have just a few fun activities for you guys to learn like how to use this tool. So the tool is pretty straightforward. If you use the link I put in the chat to access it, here is the first page you can see. If you scroll down a little bit, here is our first map. So through this map, you can see people experiencing Alice and below across the greater Houston area. And how to use this map? First, you can hover over the map anywhere you are interested to see. Like, for example, for this zip code, it's located in Montgomery County. And while you read through the text in the window, you can see the number of households and percentage of households experiencing poverty and experiencing Alice. And the last, you will see the total households in this zip code. And besides the tooltip function, there are two more filters you can use here. For instance, if you click on the county filter, here are the 4 county we're including in the map, the Fort Bend, Harris, Montgomery, and Waller. For instance, you want to see how Waller is doing, then you can unclick all first and then go to Waller, click it, and voila, it will magically appear here. And then you can hover over it to see detailed information for each zip code in Waller County. And besides this, the second filter here is the United Way Greater Houston Regional Model, and you can use the filter here to find the region you are interested in. For example, if you're interested in Region 6, which is the far southeast Harris County, you can click here, and then here is the Region 6. And you can continue like hover overing it, look at specific information for each zip code in Region 6. So this is the first map in the tool. And by using this little arrow on the top, by clicking it, we can go to the next tool. I just shared where we can see Alice data on the neighborhood level across the Harris County. Similar to the previous map, first you can just hover over it, look for the neighborhood you are interested to see. And besides this tooltip function, by hover overing, you can use the the neighborhood filter on the right top hand side. Here you can see we have all this neighborhood available for you to explore. And now it's time for our little fun activity. And first, let me quickly show you how to use this filter. It's pretty straightforward. For instance, if you want to see the Cypress Creek South neighborhood, you can unclick the all first and then click on the neighborhood name. And then here is the neighborhood right in front of you, zoomed in. And so with that demo, let's have a quick, fun, and interactive activity. Let me put it in the chat while So here is the activity. So I want you guys to use this tool, use this map to find what is the percentage of households experiencing Alice in Baytown. And after you find the answer, feel free to put it in the chat. So let's give folks a few seconds to find it. So it should be relatively straightforward. You can use the neighborhood filter on the right top hand side, and you can either type the name or just search it by going through the list. Just gonna give a few more seconds for folks to find the percentage of households experiencing Alice in Baytown. So if you have the answer, feel free to put it in the chat. 39, 33, yes, exactly. Awesome, you guys are awesome. Okay, 33 is the right answer, yay. And how did we get the 33 number? Here, let me quickly show you. So by using this filter, you can either go down the list, first uncheck all. You can either go down the list and Baytown is right here. And if you don't see it, it's hard to just go through the whole list. You can always type the name. For instance, you can type Bay, and here it's Baytown. And by hover over this area, you can see, okay, percent Alice households is 33%. It's a pretty straightforward and easy to use, right? And so this is the second map, and we have one more map to show you guys. And here through this map, you can see households experiencing Alice and below across the Texas state, which is pretty amazing. And this map is similar to the previous two. You can hover over it to explore it. And then there are two more filters on the left, on the right. First is the county, and you can see any county you are interested in. For instance, let's say Bailey County. And here in Bailey County, they have 12% of households experiencing poverty, and then 30% households experiencing Alice. And besides the county filter, there's another pretty cool and useful filter here for you to use, which is the zip code. Using the zip code, you can zoom into the certain zip code you are interested in. Just gonna quickly give you an example. So this is the zip code where I live in. It's quite close to Galleria on the near Weissheimer Road. And if you hover over it, you can see this zip code is in Harris County. And among this zip code, there are 17% of households experiencing poverty, and then another 45% of households experiencing Alice. So that is how you use the tool to really zoom in to the neighborhood, to the zip code level, and to the county you are interested to learn more about Alice and people experiencing poverty. And I hope you find this demonstration is helpful. And since you have the link, please feel free to explore it, play with it as much as you want. And also feel free to share with anyone that want to learn more about Alice or passionate about Alice. And now I'm gonna hand it over to Jessica for the rest of the presentation.
Thank you so much, Mingyu. Okay, so Mingyu and Alias have really provided some background on the survival budget, what it looks like across the communities for different household sizes. What I want to provide some insight is a little bit deeper into what we see for people in the communities. And so, you know, the Alice data really shines a light on the groups that are disproportionately impacted. Because yes, Alice is about people, and it's really the people that are behind it. And so we know that certain groups like older adults, young adults, single parent households are experiencing Alice at a higher rate. You can see here that racial and ethnic disparities and hardships are growing and not shrinking. And the Alice data really documents the persistent and widening disparities in income and wealth. And what's important about being able to look at the ALICE data from this lens is that households of all ages, genders, races, ethnicities, whether you're living in urban, rural, suburban areas, are impacted by financial hardship. And understanding that full extent really helps to inform how we can work to improve lives, to serve folks that are needing support. The ALICE data provides a better measure of language to describe the individuals in our community that are struggling to afford basic household necessities. The economic hardship persists across the community. And from the recent Kinder Houston area survey, over 40% of Harris County respondents could not come up with $400 to deal with an emergency, which folks experiencing ALICE know this all too well. When Elias was showing you the survival budget, one of the key factors of that is it doesn't factor in savings. So if you don't have savings, you understand the stress of living paycheck to paycheck, living on the financial edge, one emergency away from a financial hardship, which is why it's important to look for solutions that put individuals and families on a path to financial stability, like the survival budget, where it looks different for each household's size and composition. The journey to financial stability looks different for each household and each individual. We see that in the goals that clients are setting as they work with their navigator along the integrated client journey, such as increasing their emergency savings, saving for a car or home, paying off debt, looking to further their education, or even finding affordable childcare. And really the reality for a lot of families that they might encounter the benefits cliff along their journey to financial stability. This occurs when people are using some sort of state or federal benefit and they receive a raise or an increase in their work hours, so some sort of career advancement, and then discover that they make too much money to qualify for benefits, but they're not yet making enough to really sustain themselves and their household. Because they've relied on benefits to supplement their monthly budget, that really, they feel that drop, they feel that experience. And due to the gradual or sudden loss of those programs, that career advancement really kind of worsened the family situation. So let's bring this together here. So we have a Cliff's benefit tool that we can look at that really helps show what does this look like for someone in our community and then the career path that they're going on. So here's an example of a parent with 2 children in Harris County on a career path as an LPN. So the chart here is going to show the family's net financial resource over time, which is the family's take-home pay plus public assistance minus the minimum household budget. The tool helps to simulate when the individual will experience the benefits cliff. So here you can see in 2025 that they've completed their education, they get into that LPM job, and they lose their benefits because their wage increased. And specifically, you can see here this side by side of what benefits drop. So this is the comparison between the LPN and what benefits they qualified for, and then the near minimum wage job and what they would qualify for in Harris County. And here we selected all the benefits that they could have potentially qualified for. And really, they're specifically losing housing voucher and SNAP. So this benefits cliff is the reality for so many families. And our network of over 100 partners are really working to ensure that neighbors struggling to make ends meet land on their feet and stay there. That's really at the crux of what we're doing and what we're focused on. And so I want to show you the benefits cliff and where you can access that on our website. It's a really great resource for working with someone on their career path to kind of help see what's next, that future forward planning. It's also a great policy tool, and then just a great tool to really help understand what is the magnitude of this for families in our community. So from our website, and I'm going to drop our website in the chat because I know Mingyu and Elias have been sharing different links all along, and it all lives under here under employed but in need. That's the section where we put all of the ALICE data, the ALICE information. There's an ALICE overview 1-pager. We have specific information for our 4-county area, as well as more reports and data you can dig into there. This is the direct link to the map, the direct link to the survival budget. And then we have the direct link to the understanding the benefits cliff. So if we click that, it's actually going to take you to United for ALICE at our Texas state partner, United Ways of Texas, where they have a really great, you can watch how to use the Cliff dashboard, a really quick training on that. And then you can access the Cliff dashboard. So from the CLIF dashboard, it is produced by the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. They are using ALICE data, the ALICE survival budget behind it as part of the map, as part of the graphs to simulate the benefits cliff and what someone might experience that. So you could look at it as a snapshot, you could look at it as a dashboard, and you could look at it as a planner. Again, it's a really great tool for folks to use just to better understand what that might happen and what might occur. So if you click on dashboards, that's going to take you to kind of the dashboard where you can slice and figure out which composition you would like. You could look at different states. So we could look at Texas. You can look at different counties. So here we could pick Harris County again. And then you can put your composition, how many adults are in the home. It could be 1 adult with 2 children. As you populate that 2 children, it is going to ask you, does anyone have a disability in the home? So this calculator, this tool really takes into account maybe what that person could qualify for. And so you can determine if they have if they have a disability. You can provide the age of the adult as well as the children that are in the home, the first child and the second child. And then what public assistance. So you could do all programs, or you could do no programs. You could select a custom list, select from a custom list. If we select from the custom list, you can kind of see there that it runs through, it includes supplemental nutrition assistance programs. So it includes SNAP, free reduced lunch, women, infant, children nutrition programs. So quite a list right there that it provides. That you can use as you better understand, like, what does this mean for the family, especially if you have a specific person in mind. It's just a great informational tool to have. From there, it'll ask you, what other income is there from different, if someone has a disability, if they have any supplemental SSDI type of income coming in. So it does get a little bit more information there because it really is going to help you drill into that. And then here you can pick the occupation. So, this definitely matches to different occupations that people might be on a training path for. And so, healthcare practitioner, technical occupations. From there, that's how we were able to look at the licensed practical and licensed vocational nurse. And so that tool can help you look at what's their duration of that training program. We know some training programs maybe are a little shorter than others. And again, that helps you give, what does this look like for the person I'm working with, or just to better understand. And then you can look at what's the comparison. Is it you want to do a near wage minimal job like we showed in the demo, or some other job you can compare to what would it look like if it was an RN. So you can really filter down. And then if you calculate the results, it's going to pull up the chart so you can really dive into that. So I want to, encourage you to look through that and explore it as just a way to better understand the impact for individuals in our community. So with that, we know that we have our network of over 100 partners really working together to help families reach their financial stability. It's about ensuring that in our community, everyone has an opportunity to thrive and prosper. And so core to our model with the integrated client journey is a strengths-based approach where we're meeting people where they're at, providing them with the resources and tools to help meet their goals that they've set out for them. And so we want to watch this quick video to really help bring this into what, ALICE really represents the need that is in the community. The data highlights that, but what is the solution? What can we do? And so I'll push play here.
There are far too many families in our community who are working really hard and still struggling to make ends meet. And we have an incredible opportunity as a community to help people not just land on their feet, but stay there. In April of 2022, United Way of Greater Houston launched a new strategy that's a little more squarely focused around family financial stability.
Our approach is really centered on believing that people are the experts in their own lives and they can come up with those solutions, but often they need someone to walk alongside them and provide that support system. That's what the integrated client journey does. It's really about equipping people with those tools.
One of the things we've introduced this year are called navigators. These individuals are personal guides for families and households who are ready to get on that path to financial stability.
Their role is to work one-on-one with an individual to first assess their needs and then to help them to set their goals.
I find individuals who have not even had the time to think about goals because they're so caught up in just meeting the day-to-day needs for themselves and their family. Having this program gives them that specific time to be able to focus on goals.
We want to provide them all the tools and resources that they need to reach financial stability. That's the whole purpose of the programs. We get a lot of individuals that come to us and they're wanting to do things such as become homeowners.
Maybe going back to school, even getting their GED, getting some job skills training, finding some stable housing and a better atmosphere for their children.
So we have to go out and find those different resources that they could benefit from to make that whole process seamless for them.
We're hoping to remove barriers to help people access quality services, helping a family to navigate paperwork in their native language. It could be getting transportation to get to a job interview. It's just sometimes they're the small things that seem small, but they have such a huge impact on a family's trajectory.
We had this mother of 3, and she was in distress because she was in the process of being evicted. And so myself and our program navigator was able to put our heads together and get her placed into a hotel room until we were able to assist her with longer-term housing. She was able to go back to work and save up money and put herself in a better situation financially. United Way has everything in place for them, the agencies, the navigators who are equipped and knowledgeable about the services that are out there.
They're here to really understand not just their agency's programs and services, but really understand what all of our partners are doing across our network. So it's really of a social services coordinated care network.
And we also realize that this is not always linear. Someone may fall back into a crisis, but that's where their navigator is going to be there to support them because life is going to happen.
So I think one of the things that makes me hopeful for the community is that I see the positive changes in the individuals that I serve. Again, even making the smallest change is a huge difference for them.
We really hope with this new strategy that we can have a meaningful impact on the number of families across our community who can get on and stay on a path to financial stability. And at the end of the day, that means that we're able to lift our entire community up, strengthen our economy, and that's good for everyone across our community.
Well, thank you. I hope that video kind of brings it together. And I know folks have been asking questions along the way, so thank you so much for that. But we want to provide you an opportunity now. We would like to ask you some questions. So here we have a couple of prompts, and we would really love to hear from you. What's squared away for you? What do you really understand? What are you circling with? What do you still not understand? What kind of questions are lingering for you? Or what's next for you, your program, your agency, your community? Would really love to hear that as well. Here we're, throughout 2023, we'll be going out and doing more ALICE presentations. If you would like for us to come out and share the data with your agency, your program, your community group, whoever you would like, please put your name and email in the chat, and we'd love to follow up with you on that. And would love to also, we'll be having some more sessions to go a little deeper into the ALICE data around specific topics. And we'll be doing that in partnership with Greater Houston Community Foundation starting in 2024. So we'll be sure to keep everybody in the loop when we start to have the RSVPs for those. So I want to just encourage you to do that. That's what's next for us. As well as continuing to inform the work we're doing here at United Way, but would love for others. And I do see one question that came in beforehand of, are you supposed to select public assistance they're already receiving? And yes, Kelly, you can use that tool in that way. You can identify, if you're working with a specific person, you could simulate it based on what they're currently receiving. And then you could also base it on all the programs, right? You can look at it kind of more general as well. It's definitely not a tool to determine if somebody qualifies. It's more of an informational, educational tool. Thank you so much, Kelly. Kelly, can I ask you to come off mute to do a plug for your number 3? Your number 1 is, yes, thank you. I'm glad this information resonated. We'll be sure to send out the recording from today, the slide deck, as well as links to all the tools we shared and our upcoming presentations we'll be having. But would love for you to share about number 3 for folks.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for giving me a minute. So we at the Women's Resource, I'm the Senior Program Director, we offer a 6-class personal finance series that focuses on the basics of personal finance. So we cover topics such as budgeting, savings, credit reports, credit scores, debt, and how to achieve financial goals. And we partner with nonprofits across the city to offer those classes. We offer them to the public on Zoom, but we go to the clients in specific nonprofits. We go to companies, we go to schools to offer these classes. So we are funded to serve regions 2, 3, and 4. And we would love to, if you're in those regions and serving clients in those regions, and you want us to come to your office and present our classes to you and to your clients, we can do that. Or we can also offer our classes to you via Zoom. So if your clients are kind of spread across the region and they don't really come to you, we can still do the classes virtually for your clients. So reach out to me. Also, Fabi Sendejas is our volunteer and community engagement coordinator. She's also on this call, and she's the one who oversees all of our classes. So you can reach out to her, and I'm sure she'll put her information in the chat. There she goes. And we would love to get together with you. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Kelly. Would love for anyone else if they want to share out. That's a great, next step of what we can do, right? How we can work together to support individuals and families in our community.
Hello, everyone. David Fernandez, Senior Program Manager at the Alliance. One of the things I thought it was squared away, but it's not, is like the living wage. When I see those budgets, it's like a moving target. You could really see inflation all up in there. And so programmatically, any workforce development program, the challenge is finding employment opportunities for that family of 3 to make $63K, or more, right? And any upskilling training opportunities. So really having to try to find creative ways to leverage more like digital upskilling or other career pathways. So that's always a moving target. A few years ago, it was like $15, $16, $17, and then it's very high right now. So that was my big takeaway from this and challenge.
Yeah, that survival budget really kind of hits home of like, what does it look like for that individual based on their household, that composition of the household, because as, just looking at the child in the home, as they age, the cost associated with it decreases. But right, we know the reality, right? Like some of those costs actually increase, like, they have other needs that come up. And so that is a big part of just giving that context to help see like, how can we help move people towards financial stability and how they define financial stability. So we know that looks different for every individual and household based on their own circumstances. So I appreciate that call out to that. And how does this look in practice? Love for anyone else. We probably have time for one other folk to share their maybe what they're squared away with, what they're still circling with, or what's next for them in their program, their community, their agency.
Hi. So some of the data was interesting where the atlas percentage was lower than the property level in some counties in Texas. So seeing that was a very interesting insight.
Yeah, thank you for lifting that up. Yeah, that's a big note that the ALICE data, what makes it so unique is that you can look at it at a more localized context. So it's not just the state of Texas. You can look at what does it look like for Harris County compared to Fort Bend, or to Brazoria County, or to Bexar County. Those are really the only counties maybe I know could say off the top of my head, but all the counties in Texas. And you can better understand what does that look like at that local lens, which is perhaps provide that more direct context. So thanks for pulling that. We have tons of resources on our website. I put a bunch of links here. We'll share this out afterwards so you can go in and dig. We'll also share the link to United for Alice that has more information available on their website. There are over 20 states that have the Alice data. And so you can look at this. What does it look like in Louisiana, or what does it look like in Tennessee or New Jersey? So you can get a little bit more specific into other states if you're interested and your work carries you over there. So really want to thank everyone today for joining us. We'll follow up an email with tons of information, and really thank you for all that you're doing to serve individuals and their families in our community. And thank you for joining us today for our Alice Town Hall.